Before slick cop shows took over TV, Hunter hit like a pun gunge. Laddies, gritty streets, and Detective Din always play clean. Rick Hunter and Dee McCall wore the badges, but the people around them gave the series its danger and sell. Decades later, some of them became legends, some faded away, and others left us way too soon. This is Hunter, then and now. Rick Hunter, the tough, broad-shouldered sergeant who gave the show to Gage, was played by Fred Dreyer. He was born on July 6, 1946, in Hawthorne, California, and was 38 when the show premiered in 1984. Hunter works because he feels like us. He was forged in the gritty 1980s. Blunt, stubborn, street smart, and always ready to fight the system when justice is out of reach. Dreyer brought a physical presence to the role that came naturally from his time as an undefensive anthro-drywit, but he also saw a moral compass. His partnership with Dee McCall gave the series its heart, muscle, and instinct on one side with brains and empathy on the other. Before acting, Dreyer played 13 seasons in the Anvil. After Hunter, he kept busy with movies, ready a behind-the-scenes production. In 2026, he turns 80, and Rick Hunter remains his ultimate legacy. He was a classic cop hero from an era when justice came with grit, attitude, and a raspy voice. Captain Charles Dean, the firm but steady boss who kept the precinct running, was played by Charles Howning. Born on July 29, 1943, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, he was 40 show with a Johnny 1986. Dean works because he gives Rick Hunter and Dee McCall a real leader to answer to, not just a boss, but an actual authority figure balancing rules, pressure, and the wild instincts of detectives who always were closed to the edge. Hallahan played him with quiet authority and natural grit, never needing to force his power. That restraint made Dean a solid, grounding presence in a show built on violence, fast chases, and constature. Beyond Hunter, Hallahan had a massive career across film, stage, and television. Appearing in The Thing, Dante's Peak, and Hill Street Blues, he passed away in 1997 age 54. Watching him today, Dean is the exact kind of character actor these shows always need: steady, believable, and deeply missed. Sporty James, the street-smart informant, who brought quick wit and some warm humor to the show, was played by Garrett Morris. He was born on February 1, 1937, in New Orleans, Louisiana, and was 49 when he debuted in 1986. Sporty works because he brings a total intelligence, not academy training, not official authority, but the raw survival skills that come from knowing the streets, from reading people, and knowing exactly where trouble hides before it ever reaches the precinct. Morris played him with humor, rhythm, and a natural charm that made Sporty stand out in this hard cop show. His scenes cut the show's tension without losing any of its grit. Long before Hunter, Morris had already made television history as an original cast member on Saturday Night Live, before building a massive career in sitcoms, movies, and stage plays. In 2026, he is 89, still celebrated as a trailblazing comic genius. Sporty James remains a small but unforgettable part of the show. Sharp, colorful, and packed with street-level truth, Lieutenant Ambrose Finn, a steady presence in the chaotic world of Hunter, was portrayed by John Sheeran. Born on September 27, 1944, he was 42 when he took on the role in 1986. Finn really works because he brings balance to the entire precinct. In a show driven by Rick Hunter's aggression and McCall's sharp determination, a character like creates structure, keeping the chain of command alive, reinforcing police procedure, and anchoring every case to the real department. Sharon played him with quiet professionalism, never turning the lieutenant into a loud caricature. Instead, he made whole precinct feel real and believable. Off the screen, Sharon dedicated his life to theater and teaching, joining East Carolina University as theater faculty in 1990, where he mentored young actors for decades. He passed away in 2017 at the age of 72. Lieutenant Finn remains a prime example of the character actors who gave Hunter its gritty realism. Steady, believable, and deeply professional. Captain Weiler, a cool and authoritative leader in the show, was played by Bruce Davidson. He was born on June 28, 1946, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and was 39 when he joined the series in 1985. Weiler works because he bridges street-level policing and department rules Rick Hunter and D. McCall usually run on raw instinct and urgency, but Wyler reminds us that even in a gritty cop show, every single move has consequences, politics, behindix. Davidson brought a quiet intelligence to the role, giving authority a thoughtful edge instead of acting tough. That exact quality went on to define his entire career. Before and after Hunter, Davidson built a solid career across movies and TV, starring in Willard, among the Tintenpaffen films, where he played Senator Robert Kelly, turning 80 in 2026. He still gets recognized for bringing emotional lows to quiet roles. Captain Wyler remains a steady, controlled presence, the kind of leader who made the show feel that just one cop's gut instincts. John Mullins, the tough, capable detective who brought a fresh dynamic to Hunter, was played by Darlanne Fluegel. She was born November 25, 1953 in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and was 30 when she joined the cast. John works because she brings discipline, sharp instincts, and a completely different vibe than partners who came before her. She is professional, guarded, and tough enough to survive in a violent world without losing her sense of purpose. Fluegel played her with a cool intensity that matched the show us later tone, giving Joan both her ability. Her performance highlighted the changing role of women in classic television crime dramas, not just as sidekicks, but as real investigators with their own judgment, grit, and scars. Beyond Hunter, Fluegel starred in big movies like To Live and Die in La, Running Scared, and Once Upon a Time in America. Building a screen presence marked by beauty, restraint, and edge, she passed in 2074 for Alzheimer's disease, but John remains a huge part of her legacy. Strong, serious, and quietly haunting. Carlos, a dangerous villain who brought real menace to Hunter, was played by Richard Beauchamp. Born February 7, 1950, in Los Angeles, California, he was 35 when he was 5. Carlos works because cop shows need villains who feel dangerous enough to create real tension. He is not just another random bad guy. Sliding through an episode, he brings a cold, calculating threat that forces our favorite detectives to confront darkness head-on. Beauchamp played him with controlled intensity, making Carlos feel like a threat who understood power without having to say a word. That acting is key in weekly cop shows where guest villains have very little time to make impact. His role highlighted one of Hunter's main themes. Justice is not abstract. It is fought for case against monsters who exploit fear. Beauchamp's life ended far too soon when he died in 1994 at age 44 from failure. Carlos remains a brief but highly memorable mark on Hunter, a reminder of how one killer guest performance can drastically raise the stakes of any episode. Captain Dolan, a commanding boss whose authority gave the series real weight, was played by John Waite. Born December 27, 1939 in Newark, New Jersey, he was 45 in the role. Dolan works because he brings moral steel to a show driven by violence and pressure. As the captain, he is not just there to bark out orders. He represents real responsibility, judgment, and the heavy burden of leadership. When detectives are pushed to the limit, Amos played him with the grounded strength that defined his entire career. His voice, posture, and directness made Dolan feel like a leader who had earned his power instead of inherited. Long before Hunter, Amos was beloved as James Evans Sr. on Good Times, and later made history Ruse. Coming to America and countless other classics, he passed away in 2024 at age 84. Captain Dolan remains a standout role in a legendary career, firm principled, and played by an actor who made strength feel human. Ruben Garcia, the loyal and street-smart officer who added flavor to the precinct, was played by Rudy Ramos. He was born September 19, 1950, in Lawton, Oklahoma, and was 37 when he joined. Garcia works because he highlights the vital officers surrounding our lead detectives, the beat cops who gather intel, secure scenes, and make the precinct feel like a real place in scenery. Ramos played him with quiet confidence, giving Garcia a grounded sense of experience and real reliability. He did not need to dominate scenes to matter. His presence built that team dynamic cop dramas truly need. Outside of Hunter, Ramos built a huge, diverse career on television, stage, and film, nailing westerns, dramas, and character roles that proved his incredible range. In 2026, he turned 76, still tied to decades of American screen history. Ruben Garcia might not be the loudest character, but he represents something crucial: the steady pro standing beside the heroes and actually get the job done. D. McCall, the The fierce detective whose partnership with Rick Hunter anchored the entire series was played by Stepfanie Kramer. Born on August 6, 1956, in Los Angeles, she was just 28 when Hunter knew teen 84. McCall works because she is tough but compassionate, sharp but never cold, and strong enough to just following him. Kramer brought brainpower, emotional grit, and a presence that made Dee one of the premier cops of 80s television. Her electric chemistry with Fred Dryer gave the show its perfect, signature balance. His blunt force squared off against her discipline, deep insight, and moral clarity. McCall mattered because she stood tall in a male-dominated crime world, as a true equal, never decorating. Kramer later kept busy acting, writing, and making music, proving her life went far beyond the by 26, turning 70. Dee McCall is still her definitive role. A detective we remember not just for being tough, but for the genuine humanity she brought to every single case. Sergeant Chris Nova, the sharp, steady detective who joined Hunter in its final seasons, was played by Lauren Lane, born February 2, 1961, in Oklahoma City. She was 30 when she joined the cast. Novak works so well because she injects a completely different energy into Rick Hunter's world. She was never just a cheap copy of Dee McCall, but a powerful force of her own. Sharp, highly professional, calm under heavy pressure, and fully capable of holding her own in a crisis. Lane delivered a focused, restrained performance, giving Chris Novak a quiet authority that matched the show's evolving body. Her character mirrored a massive shift in television crime dramas, showcasing female cops as highly skaters of grit, shunjitment, and deep emotional complexity. After Hunter, Lane won over sitcom fans as C.A. Babcock on The Nanny, proving her incredible range later. She poured her passion and teaching, mentoring the next generation of actors. In 2026, she is 65, and Chris Novak remains a strong, thoughtful, and deeply grounded late-chapter figure. Fully professional, this minor, yet incredibly gritty street cop in Hunter was played by Don Edmonds. Born September 1, 1937, in Kansas City, Missouri, he was 49 during a spot. The Brief. His role works because Hunter relies heavily on gritty atmosphere, busy squad rooms, crime scenes, beat cops, and the sense that every case takes a whole department. Edmonds brought a veteran presence, giving Eve cameo layer real-world experience and edge. Beyond acting, he also built a career directing and producing, working in different corners of show business with a practical understanding of how to build graced. Edmonds left his mark on a massive variety of movie and TV projects, and his role on Hunter fit the show's world of hard faces, high stakes, and street-level urgency. He died in 2009 at 71 from liver cancer. The detective role was minor, but it capped off a long career built on pure versatility and grit, and a constant drive to go wherever the camera needed him. Otto Minsky, the unhinged bomber whose explosive vendetta brought deadly danger to Hunter, was played by Annie Toombs. Born July 22, 1942, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, he was 43 when the episode Blow Up aired. 96. Minsky is pure tension on screen, unpredictable, volatile, dangerous, and fueled by revenge. He forces Rick Hunter into a high-stakes race time instead of a normal investigation. James delivered his usual chilling lean and deeply unsettling intensity, making him impossible to ignore. James built a career playing menacing villains in classics like High Plains Drifter and Unforgiven. He possessed a rare gift for making bad guys deeply unsettling without saying much, relying on quiet tummies and facial expressions. On Hunter, the talent gave Minsky a chilling psychological edge. James died of cancer in 2020 77, leaving Minsky as a truly dark, unforgettable guest villain, proving how Anthony James could make danger feel incredibly quiet and intensely focused. And deeply unsettling, Officer Mayers, a reliable cop who helped flesh out the world of Hunter, was played by Granell Bush. He was born on December 24, 1955, in Los Angeles, California, and was 31 when he first joined the show. Mayers works because not every Keeger crime drama has to run the investigation. These background officers make the whole precinct feel real. They secure crime scenes, chase down leads, back up detectives, and hold the line when things get dangerous. Bush brought a sharp, confident edge to Myers, giving the character a totally believable law enforcement presence. His bigger career would later feature standout roles in action movies and sci-fi hits, including appearances in Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, Demolition Man, and other huge blockbusters. He was one of those familiar faces to high-octane thrillers and authority figures. In 2026, Bush turns 71, and Officer Mayers remains a memorable part of his lay career, a rock-solid supporting role in a show where every badge helped make the danger feel real. Brad Wiles, an FBI agent who brought intense federal pressure to the world of Hunter, was played by Stanley Carr. Born on January 1st, 1943, in South River, New Jersey, he was 44 when he plays E. The character works because he blows the investigation wide open, way past local police limits. When federal agents step in, the mood shifts, jurisdictions clash, and cooperation gets incredibly tense. And the entire case suddenly feels way bigger than one precinct. Camille played Welks with pure class and controlled authority, bringing a professional sharpness that this procedural cop show perfectly. Throughout his career, Camille was a familiar face on TV, starring in dramas, soap operas, comedies, and crime shows, later finding fame as Dr. Charles Croger on Monk. He excelled at playing intelligent, composed men. Connie's series had massive emotional weight. Camille passed away in 2008 at 65 years old from a heart attack. Brad Wilkes remains a prime example of how he could join a series, instantly build credibility, and leave the entire storyline feeling much more complete. Michael Stevens, a high-ranking drug enforcement official whose work crossed paths with Hunter, was played by Jack Bannon, born 1940, in Los Angeles, California, and was 46 when he played Stevens in 1986. The role works because drug cases in crime dramas always need smart coordination, strategy, and a big thick strategy. Stevens brings heavy official weight, representing the federal agencies and departments' operatings, level action. Bannon played him with a quiet authority that made the character feel entirely believable. Without ado, he knew the exact rhythm of TV dramas, making instructions, command, and professional friction feel incredibly natural. Outside of Hunter, Bannon built a highly successful career in TV and film, but fans still remember him best as Art Donovan on Low Grant, becoming a fixture on one of these unexpected newsroom dramas. He passed away in 2017 at 77 years old from natural causes. Michael Stevens remains a brief but vital part of Hunter, proving that big cases are solved novel chases, but by leadership behind closed doors. Deputy Chief Curtis Moorhead, a corrupt high-ranking official who brought a dark institutional force to Hunter, was played by Robert Vauer. Born November 22, 1932, in New York City, he was 57 when he took the role in 1989. Moorhead works because he shifts the danger from the streets right into the system itself. In a show about cops chasing bad guys, having a corrupt boss adds a totally different level of suspense. The terrifying reality that power can shield criminals, hide evidence, and turn justice into dirty politics. Vaughan played with elegant, chilling control, using his sharp voice and sophisticated presence to make Moorhead feel both incredibly and dangerous. That sophistication defined most of Vaughan's career. He rose to global fame as Napoleon Solo, the man for Laon, earned massive acclaim in movies and television, continuing to work for decades with amazing consistency. He passed away in 2016 at 83 years old from acute leukemia. Curtis Moorhead stands as a brilliant late series role, showing how Robert Vaughan could make calming, smart, and deeply corrupt all at once. Otto, a local character tied to one of Hunter's very first cases, was played by Tony Plana, born April 19, 1952, in Havana, Cuba. He was 30, starred when he cut the season 1 episode, The Beach Boy. Otto works because early episodes of a crime show often rely on unique guest characters who build the show's moral code and social turf. He helps drive a grim case of violence and the shady Nemuxthatter and McCall battle in Los Angeles. Plana brought pure grit and authenticity to the role, grounding the episode in a living, breathing, instead of a simple, run-of-the-mill case of the week. Outside of Hunter, Plana carved out a massive career as an actor, director, and teacher. You probably know him as Ignacio Soares on Ugly Betty, but he has crushed roles across movies and television and theater, bringing genuine soul to complex characters. In 2026, at 74, his just early milestone in a brilliant, diverse career. that George Clooney stepped in as Matthew Winfield, a wealthy, slick predator hiding serious crimes but poor face. Born in Lexington, Kentucky on May 6, 1961, he was only 26 during his Hodder appearance. Winfield works because he nails a classic 80s cop show trope. Danger does not always look desperate. Sometimes it is handsome, rich, and shielded by status. Long before superstardom, Clooney perforce charmed this deceptively dark role. His scenes with D.D. McCall, who goes undercover at a modeling agency, crank up the tension, attraction, lies, and danger all lead him. Back then, Clooney was just paying his dues, grinding through guest spots and small TV roles. Years later, ER would turn him into one of Hollywood's biggest names, followed by Ocean's 11, Syriana, and Michael Clayton. In 2026, at 65, this early role is a fascinating time capsule. A massive movie star hidden inside a gritty 80s cop show. Hunter was never soft. It was pure grit, attitude, and street justice with bruises. The cast has moved on, and some are gone, but their faces remain locked in that gritty, hardball gritty. Which actors stayed with you? Comment below, like, subscribe, and see us next time on Hollywood 1960s.